Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another MindShift Monday. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Fatima Bay, the Mindshifter, and I am here. I'm an international Mindshift coach, amongst many other things. But I'm here to shift your thinking for your own success, but primarily for your future success. And I'm here every Monday at 7 p.m. And right now, I'm in the middle of a series called You Already Know This. So in this series we explore different overused cliches that we've all heard like a million bajillion times over, and I talk about them. So okay, so I talk about I chose about 12 different cliches to make this a 12-week series. There's hundreds of them, but I chose 12 of what I think are the top ones that are way overused, constantly misused, and they've definitely lost their savor because they're so oversaid. So if you want to see the previous sessions, just go to my YouTube channel, or actually just go to the events page on my website, and the YouTube player is right there. You can just watch any one you want. So today we're talking about follow your passion, something we always hear where people are like, follow your passion. And there's a degree of truth to that. However, it is, I think, primarily misused. Um, Not just misused, but also misunderstood. Sometimes it's not always about how someone uses it, but how you receive it and how you understand it. So I'm going to break that down for you today. Because, first of all, I want to say that it is a true phrase. You should follow your passion. Generally speaking, the principle behind it is true. Even that wording, I don't I don't use myself. So I'm going to break down why. All right. So, follow your passion. Is it sounds good, but it's actually very dangerous if it's misunderstood. And by the way, I have lived this, and that's why I can teach it the way I'm teaching it, because I know it. I've seen other people do it as well. But I have actually lived where I'm following my passion but not following my brain, and not using all of the very intelligent brain that I've been given. And some of you might be in the midst of that too, or maybe someone around you. I think many of us are, we don't want to admit it, but we've been there, or maybe you are there. And if you are there, no judgment. Let's just talk about how to get out of there. So, first of all, I want to start off by saying passion does not equal emotions. Your emotions are separate from your passion. So a lot of times, and the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times when people say, follow your passion, what they really are teaching you is to follow your emotions. Sometimes it's in the teaching, and sometimes it's in your receiving. And sometimes you receive that as, well, my passion is I love Gary this week, so I'm going to follow that. As silly, as silly as that sounds, people really do dumb stuff like that. And following your emotions is definitely not the same thing as following your passion. Your emotions might follow up and connect with your passion, but they are two separate things. So, um, feelings can shift. Passion is deeper. So let's talk about how they are different. Um, Passion is something that is embedded within you. The truth is, most of you, all of you actually, were born with the passion to do what you are called to do. So your passion is like, I'll give myself as an example. I have a passion for hurting young women, to help hurting young women. And you can see it in all that I do. And even if you listen to my podcast, you can definitely see it and hear it. I have a passion to watch people grow. And it's one of the reasons I'm a coach. I absolutely love watching people grow and being one to help them do that. It is a passion. It is not a feeling. Sometimes I don't feel like coaching. I would rather go to sleep. I'd rather watch a movie. I'd rather sit and eat pizza. I'd rather play a game on my phone. That's what I feel like in the moment. That's not the same thing as my passion. My passion is deeper. It is a deep, deep, not just feeling, but is a deep desire to do something. A feeling is like the wind. It flows, it goes here and there. Your emotions, they're like the wind. They're just gonna go wherever they go. Most of the times our emotions follow an action. And we're taught as Americans, very falsely, to let our actions follow our emotions. And that is why we get in trouble. And that's why we do stupid stuff that gets us in trouble. And that's why we lack common sense because of that mindset. So my point is that feelings are your when I say feelings in this context, I'm talking about your emotions. They come and go. They follow actions. Sometimes an emotion can spurt an action, but that emotion had to follow an action first. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So when you follow your feelings, you make impulsive choices. You know who else makes impulsive choices? A 5-year-old. One of the major differences between a child and an adult is the ability to recognize how to control our impulses and when to follow them. So the lack of being able to follow an impulse, it is an immaturity. And if that's where you are, that's okay. We were all there once upon a time, and I don't care how old you are, because I was there too. But you got to get beyond that, and you got to mature. So following your feelings causes you to make impulsive choices. We all know what happens when we make impulsive choices. We do stupid stuff, right? Impulsive choices. Once in a while, an impulsive choice was the right move, and boom, something amazing, a door opens up. But that's a rare thing. That's an exception, not the rule. When we follow our impulses, we often get in trouble. Guess what is full of people who follow their impulses? Jail and the cemetery. A lot of people there follow their impulses too. So you want to be more mature than that. You want to use wisdom, is what I'm getting at with that. So here's the thing: you want to use wisdom. You don't want to just follow your emotions, and you do want to pursue your passion. So passion can either fuel or it can destroy you. It can fuel what you do. It can fuel you, or it can destroy you. The difference between the fueling and the destroying is one word: wisdom. Wisdom is a jam packed word that has a lot in it. Strategy is a part of wisdom, it is one of the elements of wisdom. So, without planning, without strategy, that passion can lead you to run after something and run off the cliff. Just picture it that way. So, I'm going to give you a few examples of what demonstrates this. So, if you are, so think about this. Think about someone who quits their job because they love baking. I love to bake. I like to make cakes and cupcakes and blah blah blah. I love baking. Nothing wrong with that. I like people who like to bake because they make delicious samples. But okay, so you're someone quits their job because they love baking, but they never study business or pricing. They don't look at marketing, none of that. They just follow their passion for baking. A year later, they're exhausted, they're broke, and they hate everything they once loved because now their passion is associated with misery and failure. And their passion wasn't wrong. Their passion was good. Where they went wrong was they foolishly quit their job without a plan. They didn't have a backup plan. They didn't make sure that they could handle what was coming. That you got to do your market research. You got to find out what what's your competition look like, because that's the arena you're in. If you don't have competition, great. Is their baked stuff dry and you make yours moist? Hey, you already got a leg up on that. It's just you have to, and you also have to do marketing. Just because you make amazing baked goods doesn't mean anybody's going to find you to buy them. You need to market. That means you need to tell people that, hey, I'm here, buy my stuff. That's essentially what marketing is. Marketing is reaching those people so that they can buy your stuff. So if you don't do your market research, well, who are you selling to? your grandma, the people at church, and they might be helpful and they might be useful and they might want to support you, but that can't keep running your business. They might run it a little bit because it's great if you can find, especially if you have people at a church or a mosque or whatever your community group is, and they want to support you. So they're like, yeah, I need a cake for Thanksgiving or whatever. Wonderful. That's great. But you can't run your whole year of business on that. And you can't grow a business on that either. So it's a good way to start, but it's not a good place to stay. You need strategy if you want to get beyond that. And let's talk about a blind pursuit. Blind pursuit of your passion leads to missed bills, bad partnerships, and poor planning. So here's another example. I talked about a little bit just now, but let me talk about a little bit more in this example. Someone gets excited about starting a clothing line. Now, y'all know I'm a seamstress, worked in the fashion industry for a long time. And as a master seamstress, I have personally seen this particular example more than once, which is why taking some courses is a good idea. You don't have to necessarily go back to school, but take a course or two. So, anyway, someone gets excited about starting a clothing line. Oh my God, I'm so excited to start so and so ABC clothing, and it's going to be the hottest thing, and everybody's going to want to buy it. And that passion fuels you. It's wonderful. So they pour their money into buying fabric, making logos, but they never build a budget to plan sales. The bills stack up. They partner with the wrong people out of desperation. Within a year, the dream is gone, but the debt is real. And this does happen, and especially in the clothing line. Oh my God. Your passion is beautiful, but if you do not understand business, you will fail. You will fail because you don't understand business unless you get a partner who does understand business and they take up the end of it. You focus on the actual clothing. That works for some people. So that is one way of doing it. But that still is a form of strategy and wisdom. You're not going to succeed without strategy and wisdom. Wisdom is taking what wisdom is. Let me explain what wisdom is. Wisdom is taking knowledge and knowing how to apply it. That's a very simplified explanation of wisdom. Just because you know stuff doesn't mean that you know how to apply that stuff. And we see this all the time when people lack wisdom in what they say to others. I used to do that. We see that when people lack wisdom on how to handle their money. They know they should budget, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to apply that concept. And so they budget incorrectly and still end up losing. There's a lot of different ways where that happens. But so blind pursuit, which means you see nothing but the goal, nothing but the goal. Oh, yes, my passion, my passion. And you don't see anything else. You're like that person who follows the butterfly right off the ridge and then you die. You might not physically die, but your dream is dead. Your desire to do it anymore is dead. And I don't like to see that happen because many of you, your passions are real and they're right. But because you are following the butterfly, you fall off the cliff. You don't look where you're going. You don't have any strategy. You're just following the butterfly. You're just following your passion. So let's talk about the balance, how you balance passion with strategy. So I've been saying that underlying principle this whole time I've been talking, but balancing passion with strategy is how you're going to be good with your passion. Let me tell you, once you marry your passion with wisdom, ain't nobody can stop you. It is one of the most beautiful things to watch in the world. And many of our biggest, Steve Jobs, we would not have Apple today if Steve Jobs didn't do that. He did other things too. They weren't the only part of his success, but a large part of it was he took his passion and he's like, okay, if y'all not gonna listen to me, I'm gonna make my own way. And he came up with a strategy. I think he's the one that started out of his garage. He came up with a strategy. And some of that strategy, I'm pretty sure was developed as he went along. You do need to have a strategy. You don't have to have, and I want to say this too. You don't need to have everything planned to the very end, every single detail. You do need to have a framework though. You need to have general ideas. Some of those details are not going to be right in the beginning because you don't know enough. And things are going to change and you're going to come up with better strategies. That is normal. So don't overwhelm yourself, entrepreneurs and people, business people in general, people who run agencies or organizations or nonprofits. You don't need to have every single microscopic hair figured out. That's not normal, actually. If you do, you're going to end up changing half of it anyway because life happens and everything doesn't go as planned. But you do need to have a general framework. You do need to know where you're going. You do need to have certain points. Okay, point A, point B, point C, and D. In between, we need to figure out some details, but these are the major points. That is good. That is a good starting point. That's really all you need to start. Don't stay there, fill in the blanks, but that's all you need to start. I feel the need to mention that because so many people put themselves under undue pressure and beat themselves up, and I hate to see you do that. Don't do that. So, let me give you an example. Let's say you love writing and you dream of being an author one day. Instead of quitting your job tomorrow, you set aside time daily to write. That means a little bit at a time. You're accomplishing what you want, a little bit at a time. So you learn publishing, you write, you build an audience first. You start talking on social media and getting some interest, right? That passion fuels you. But that strategy of keeping your job while you're building is what makes sure that you don't starve while you chase your dream. Strategy. And I'm telling you this because I see it happen to so many people, and I have personally made this mistake. Everything I'm talking about, I've done myself. I have made some colossal mistakes that have caused me great financial embarrassment. It doesn't stop me from trying again, but it gives me wisdom to try better and to do better. So I'm in a different place now than I really ever have been because of the mistakes that I've made. So don't do what I did. Use some wisdom first. So let's talk about the difference between pursuing and following. Pursue, follow your passion. But the truth is, you can follow a butterfly and fall off the cliff, but you pursue your passion. It's a very different thing when you pursue something than to just follow it. Following doesn't require any of your brain cells. It just requires your eyeballs seeing where to go. You could follow your passion right into a ditch, or you can pursue it, which means you go after it, but you're aware of its surroundings. So, what that means is like that author that I just talked about, you are using wisdom while you pursue, not follow. Pursue your passion, don't follow it. So, when I say that, that's what I mean. So, yeah, following sounds aimless, like you're drifting, like you're an airhead. Like, I'm following my passion. You're an airhead. Don't follow, pursue. Use wisdom. Use wisdom. And you're smart. I don't care who you are smart enough to have wisdom while you're pursuing. Because that passion is there, it's there for a reason. Wisdom comes with the territory if you seek it and if you want it. It's available. It's waiting for you. So, this is the formula I want you to think of. Passion plus wisdom plus structure equals sustainability. Strategy and structure are a part of wisdom. So it's really passion and wisdom that equals sustainability. But I pointed structure out because sometimes we don't think about structure. So when you're strategizing, structure should be a part of that, and your strategy should fit within a structure. Remember, I said points A, B, C, and D? That's your structure. And in between is your wisdom of how you're going to navigate those points. I hope I'm making sense with that. I want you to visualize A, B, C, and then space in between them. And then the wisdom going like this and connecting all the parts in between that make the strategy work. And you already have the structure, the framework of what you want, the important points anyway. So here's some questions you can ask yourself. If you're wondering if you are following your passion blindly or if you're pursuing it with wisdom. Number one question, and there's more questions we could ask, but I'm only going to say three here. Is my passion financially viable as I've structured it? Now, I want to say this. Anything really is possible. I know that that's a cliche that we hear all the time. It's actually true. If you believe it can be, it can be. However, the reason it can be is because you plan some wisdom and structure with it. So anything is possible. You just have to plan for it. So if it's not financially viable for you right now, please don't let that stop you. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means you have to plan differently. If you have to save $10 a week so you can get up to your whatever $1,000 goal that you need, or even just hundreds of dollars, that means you're going to need to go a little slower because maybe you have a family, you work full time right now, and you just can't give 100% to it like that. So you give what you can. Plan accordingly. Plan according to the reality that you live in, not the one you want. You can plan the reality that you want, but you got to start with the one you're in. And that's the problem, is that people are trying to plan based on ideals and concepts. Well, none of those ideas and concepts matter if it doesn't fit your life. You have to make a plan that actually fits within the life that you're really, truly living, or make changes to that life so you can create a plan from a better life. But even then, start where you are now and work your way out. Starting where you are not right now might mean planning for the space where you can do what you need to do. That might be the beginning of your plan. Right now, you've got 4 kids at home, and two of them play soccer, and you're working a full-time job. Well, that right there, and you're single, that right there is a lot. Okay? So if that means that you're not going to be able to do what I do, a person with no kids who has who spends all my time building my empire. I can do that because of the way I've structured my life. I've structured my life to be able to do that intentionally. It took me a minute to get there. I didn't just get there overnight. I had to plan it. I didn't do that in the past, which is why I made colossal mistakes. So, for you, make a plan according to where you are. Do not compare yourself to me. Do not compare yourself to Oprah. Do not compare yourself to a person down the street. You're not them, and we're not living your life. You are. Make a plan according to where you are. And I'm saying this because I don't want you to give up on your passion or feel like it's totally unachievable because it feels so overwhelmingly big. And that happens, and that's normal. No matter how big it is, it's possible. You just need to plan for it realistically. And if you need a coach or someone else to help you plan it, that's okay. I can do that, but there's plenty of other people out there who can do it, who might be specified in the particular area that you're trying to plan in. It's okay to seek help in that respect. Make sure that they listen to you and they don't try to keep you on their schedule, and that they work within yours. So, key thing when you're looking for a coach, make sure, or even a therapist, same principle, a coach of any kind, make sure that they are willing to work with your growth rate and not try to keep you to a conceptual or idealistic growth rate that doesn't fit in with your life. That means that they will unrealistically plan for you, and you will beat yourself up about not meeting goals that you just couldn't realistically maintain in the first place. Just be wise with that. All right. So, the other question you can ask is, am I making decisions from excitement or clarity? So, let's go back to the person with the fashion. Uh, they want to start a fashion line. That's exciting. It is so freaking exciting. And I get it. It really is so exciting. Oh my God. All these designs that I can do. Oh my God. I'm a designer at heart. Whether it's digitally, whether it's clothing, I am an artist. So I get really excited about creating anything. Like, I love to create. I love to create artistically, not just be like everybody else and boring. So that's me. It's easy for me to get wrapped up in passion and just be very narrowly focused, like very narrowly focused on the passion part, and forget, to use the wisdom. So you want to make sure that that's not you. So this is a big deal. The answer to this, am I making decisions out of excitement or clarity? So the difference between excitement or clarity, excitement is obvious. you got a passion for it, you're excited. Clarity means, am I clear on what I'm going to do with this excitement? Am I clear on how I'm going to accomplish this excitement? That's clarity. Am I clear on the method? Am I clear on what's going to be the wisest way for me to go about it? And by the way, let me also say this. Just because I went about my success one way does not mean that that's going to work for you. Again, like I said earlier, do not compare yourself to others and how they accomplished. They are a different person with different situations and a different background and a different pedigree, different everything. You can't compare yourself to someone who's not you. So don't do that. Just because I went this route doesn't mean that's the only route to go. Some people go through traditional educational routes. I didn't. And I'm glad I didn't, because there's more than one route. Just like if you think about how to get to your house, no matter where you live in the world, how do you get to your house? Well, there's more than one way to get there. It also depends on where you're coming from. There might only be one road in your local town to get to your house. But what about people outside your town? There's many roads to get to your town before they even get there. So just like that, there are more than one ways of getting to success. Your success is going to work because you're going to reach your success because you planned out a plan. You came up with a plan that works for you, not based on comparing yourself to me or a person on the street or blah, blah, blah. So the other question you want to ask is, what systems or backups are in place when passion isn't enough? Do you have a backup plan? Do you have a system in place that when you don't feel like it, you can still keep going? Do you have a system in place when things don't work and you feel like they failed, that you have another way to pick up and keep going? It might take you a minute to figure that out, and that's okay. You don't have to have that figured out when you start, but you do need to have that figured out somewhere along the way, because everything that you try might not work. It might not work, and that's okay. That's how you find out what does work. You can get some advice, and the person who gave you the advice gave you what they know. They legitimately gave you what they understand and what they know, because that's what worked for them. Maybe it doesn't work for you. Maybe you need to talk to somebody else who went a different route and find out what they did. Sometimes that's how you find out what works for you. And it's okay. You're not a failure if everything doesn't work out the first time. You're only a failure when you stop trying. Learning is a large part of success. So, again, planning equals wisdom. So I'm going to close out with this. Passion is powerful, but unmanaged, it can wreck you. Like that, like you're following that butterfly right off a cliff. Don't just follow passion. Pursue passion with wisdom. And I want you to write this down. Maybe put it on your wall. The recipe for success always includes wisdom as the main ingredient. Just make sure you give it credit that quote came from Fatima. But I'm going to say it again. The recipe for success always includes wisdom as a main ingredient. Did you notice that wisdom was the main ingredient, not passion? Passion is the secondary ingredient, but wisdom is the main ingredient, because I don't care how passionate you are. Without wisdom, you can only go for so far with it. Oh, passion is like a fenced in yard. You could play around the yard all day long, but you're locked in and you can't go any further. You need wisdom to get out the gate. And I'll leave you with that. So thank you all for coming. And for those of you who will watch this in the future, go back and listen again, because I said a lot today. And I hope that you take this and apply it to your life, because I'm all about giving you wisdom so that you can actually live a better life. I'm not about 1, 2, 3 tips. Other people do that, and that's just shallow. I'm about giving you the deeper mindset so that those tips are useful. See you next week.